We have a new Avengers Doomsday leak today that could possibly change the way that we see not only some major plot points of the film, but specifically the opening scene of the movie when it comes to Steve Rogers. It actually could change the way that we see one particular teaser that Marvel Studios has already let out. And I do think we're learning a little bit about what's going to happen with Doom and Loki just by this one report. And I also think Doom is going to be a lot sneakier than we really think he's going to be. I mean, it's very Doom to be sneaky and to be manipulative and have ulterior motives behind the scenes. And I think we're going to see all of that in Avengers Doomsday. What is going on, Cosmic Crew? Thanks for stopping by the channel today. Let's dive into this new report. It's coming from My Time to Shine. Hello. If you did not hear, recently, there was another report before this that in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene where we see the Fantastic Four ship come into our universe, it was recently reported that Doom was actually going to be on that ship with the Fantastic Four. Now, it's being further reported by My Time to Shine. Hello. She states Thor and Steve are already on the Fantastic Four ship with Doom before it arrives in the MCU. Thor and Steve? That's actually pretty crazy to hear. And again, I think this could change how we view the beginning of this movie. What's really interesting about this right away, I'll state, is that Thor is already on the ship. That probably means that Doom went to Earth 616 already. That's very interesting. But I also think that Doom could really be making Loki out to be the hero, or I'm sorry, to be the villain here, and Doom to be the hero. That's what Doom wants, because Doom knows he has to take over Loki's throne to be in control of the multiverse. So Doom is making it seem like Loki is the villain and that Doom is the hero. So Steve already on there. Let's talk about that first, because a lot of people, when it comes to the original first Steve Rogers teaser trailer that we got for Avengers Doomsday, a lot of people, including myself, are thinking that the person who is actually walking up to the door of Steve and Peggy's home is not actually Steve Rogers, but it's actually Doom. And they make some good points. I thought this originally, and now I think it even more. So this has been reported and been talked about online by a lot of fans, but The Direct just did an article about this as well. And they state, after this shot, fans see a tall figure walking up to the stairs to the front door of Steve's house. Originally believed to be Steve, some now believe this person may actually be Robert Downey Jr.'s Victor Von Doom. And here's the good point that they make. While Steve is unquestionably wearing blue jeans in the shot showing him getting off his motorcycle, the person walking up to the stairs appears to be wearing much darker clothing. The pants on the right side of the shot seem to be black, and fans can see a knee bend, confirming it is the undisclosed character's bottom half. Yeah, this does look much darker, could be the lighting, but it doesn't look to be that bright blue jeans. And this is kind of an ominous shot as it is, which doesn't align with the rest of this teaser. The rest of the teaser is very happy. We see Steve get off the motorcycle. He already has a wedding ring on. So him walking up like this to the house kind of ominously doesn't really make sense, because then the next scenes are him with his baby. So if you look in the reflection of the door, it seems to be like somebody is wearing a suit. And I do think this is Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom. I think he's going to Steve not to appear as a villain to him, but appear as a hero. And I think because we've heard previous reports that Loki actually filmed a scene there as well. So we've heard reports that Robert Downey Jr. filmed a scene at this old house, which we know is Steve Rogers' house now, and that Tom Hiddleston filmed a scene at this house as well. I'm curious to see what happens here if Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom really does portray Loki to be the villain, because as far as we know, Steve, he remembers Loki as the villain. That's who he knows Loki to be. He doesn't know anything that happened in Loki season 1 or season 2. And to top it off, neither does Thor. Now, our Loki, the main one of the 616 MCU, he's dead. And Thor knows that. And so while Doom appears to these people, he's going to kind of explain everything in a way that benefits him the most, right? So he'll explain the multiverse, he'll explain variants, because I don't think he's going to play it off like he's Tony. He might, but John Campea recently said we don't find out why he looks like Tony until Avengers Secret Wars, which I found very interesting, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But I don't think he's going to play it off like he's Tony. I mean, Tony clearly died, right? So I don't think he could do that. He could play it off like he's a variant of Tony, but not the specific Tony from 616. So I think he's going to show up and basically say, hey, the multiverse is in danger. It's also being ruled right now by Loki. Loki kind of commands everything, and he has this giant organization behind him called the TVA. I think he plays it off like these are the villains. And then I think Loki appears, and I think Doom says, hey, we got to get out of here. You know, Loki's trying to trick you. He's the villain. You know Loki. He's the god of mischief. He's the master of deception. You fought him. He tried to take over New York. He's the bad guy. I'm good. Come with me. So he takes Steve. I think something very similar might happen with Thor. Thor's a little bit more of a mystery, I will say, because again, it seems like Doom would have to go to 616, then leave, go to 828, and then go back to 616, which is very interesting. Now, there's a lot of reasons for Doom to go to 616. I would say multiple times. I think the 10 rings, I think Kamala Khan's bangle, and the other one that Captain Marvel has, and really, vibranium. Vibranium has the power to absorb magic. So Doom could really use that. And I think Doom would realize that he really needs that. And we've obviously had scenes, teasers already with Wakanda and Talokan, both having vibranium. I think that's going to be kind of important for Doom. In the comics, it's important for Doom. He tries to take it many times. So I think that's going to come into play as well. And how Thor kind of figures out about Doom, or why Doom would go for Thor, I think is Love, his daughter. And I think that's why we get that teaser as well. I think Doom actually goes for Love, but Thor is there. And Doom doesn't want to necessarily fight Thor right away because he doesn't want to be seen as the villain, because it's a part of his bigger plan. But I do think he wants Love because of her powers that eternity is basically given her. So I think that's how we can explain how Thor gets there. Doom kind of wants Love, but instead he says, hey, Thor, why don't you come with me? I can show you some things. So he shows him another universe, the 828 universe. He shows him Steve Rogers, and that'll kind of get both of them to be at ease, right? If Doom shows up and he puts Steve and Thor together, and remember, these are the exact two, the same ones from 616, they'll be familiar with each other, and that'll make them more likely to trust Doom. And of course, both of them know Loki, at least this other Loki, variant of Loki, to be a villain. So I think that's how the beginning of this movie actually starts, which is not how I personally thought it was going to start. And I think a lot of fans didn't think this as well. But this could be just really, really big. We've been hearing a lot of reports recently that Dr. Doom, for like 40% to half of the movie, is going to be viewed as the hero. And he's not going to be revealed, at least to them, we obviously know, but to the people in the movie until halfway into the movie, that he is the villain. And I think this is going to be kind of where the Avengers start to fight the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four fight the X-Men, because we know that's going to happen as well, until they finally realize, hey, we're not bad, you're not bad. Like, what are we doing? Why are we fighting? Well, Doom. And then Loki is probably going to send some of his people, Multiversal Avengers team, Deadpool, Wolverine, other people, and explain to them, Loki is not bad. Loki is the only thing holding the multiverse together right now. Doom is actually the one trying to tear it apart and rule it for himself. That's why he wants Loki. That's why he has been manipulating everybody. But then by that time, I think he gets vibranium. I think he gets Franklin Richards. Maybe he gets Love. I think that's kind of what happens. So this really does change, I think, the way we really view this. And I actually am really thinking now that in that first teaser trailer, that person walking up to the door is not Steve Rogers, but is in fact Victor Von Doom. Now, another thing as far as plots are concerned for Avengers Doomsday is something that Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus recently mentioned that I thought was very interesting. And I've actually seen a lot of people agree with this or think this is good news online, so you'll have to let me know your thoughts. Alex Perez recently stated that Anchor Bean's MacGuffin really isn't used in Avengers Doomsday to my knowledge. It might be implied, but nothing's been mentioned about it being used again. So that's very interesting. That was a pretty big part of Deadpool and Wolverine. And for a while, everybody has been going, okay, well, who's the Anchor Bean of 616, right? Who would the Anchor Bean of the 828 universe be? Would it be Reed? Would it be Sue? Franklin? And if so, when they leave, what does that mean for their universe? What does it mean for our universe as well? Well, according to Alex Perez, as far as he is concerned, he has not heard anything about this being used again. Do you think Avengers Doomsday really needs it? Doomsday, probably not. Secret Wars, maybe, as they're trying to rebuild multiverses, or the multiverse, and rebuild universes. That's where anchor beings might come into play. Maybe they can say, Deadpool can say, hey, well, I lost my anchor being, but we did some stuff and somehow, the universe managed to come back. Maybe we made a new anchor being. Maybe that comes into play a little bit at the end of Secret Wars. We'll have to wait and see. I also, of course, think Reed and Franklin and the Future Foundation are going to be a big part of restoring the multiverse, but maybe the anchor beings are a big part of that as well. So let me know your thoughts. Is that okay with you that it's being left out of Doomsday, or would you prefer that storyline to continue on in Doomsday? But last but not least, like I mentioned, Marvel Studios at an event in Japan revealed official artwork that was looked over by Kevin Feige and signed off on. They revealed this, and it's the leading heroes of the MCU, and it's really cool looking. It is really cool looking. Now, it's important to note that they didn't specifically say anything about Avengers Doomsday with this, just the leading heroes of just the MCU in general, Phase 6, we'll say. But I'm assuming most of these people are indeed going to be returning for Avengers Doomsday. But as you can see here, we have Shuri, Black Panther, looks to be Okoye or just somebody of the Dora Milaje behind her. I'd probably say Okoye. We have the Hulk all the way on the right. We have Bucky. Then we have the Scarlet Witch. Really hoping she returns in Doomsday. We haven't been hearing much, but I really hope she returns. Doctor Strange, Vision. He's coming back in Vision Quest. Iron Man and War Machine. So this is kind of an indicator right here that it's really not specifically for Avengers Doomsday, although we've actually been hearing that there is going to be an Iron Man variant in Avengers Doomsday played by Robert Downey Jr., not some random actor, which I really like. I really like that. I think that's a really good move. I think if you're going to have an Iron Man come back, have it be Robert Downey Jr. Definitely have it be Robert Downey Jr. I think that would be pretty cool. So continuing, War Machine, not sure if he's going to come back, really not sure. If you look down below under the Hulk's arm, and we have the Hulk, can't remember if I mentioned him, you seem to have the Ant-Man family. That's what it appears to be. It's kind of hard to see because of the light, but it looks to be Ant-Man's family, Ant-Man, Wasp, Cassie, everybody, Hank Pym. Then we have the Fantastic Four here, the Thing, Sue Storm, Reed, Human Torch, our Captain America right here. Steve Rogers is not in here, but Sam Wilson is. Yelena representing the Thunderbolts. We have Wolverine, Deadpool, Thor all the way to the left, Loki above him, and if you look behind, you can actually see what appears to be the Guardians of the Galaxy, and above, flying above them, the Guardians, is Star-Lord, the leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy. We've been hearing lately that the Guardians might not be in Avengers Doomsday, at least not too much, but Star-Lord really is. And of course, at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, it didn't say the Guardians would return. It said the legendary Star-Lord would return. So I'm not sure what that means for the Guardians, especially because there's a new team. I hope some of them don't die, but that's been a rumor going around. Nothing confirmed, but a rumor that the Guardians might actually sacrifice themselves for Peter so that he can go on. We'll have to wait and see. But these are the leaders. I am assuming that most of these actually are going to be in Doomsday. Not sure about War Machine. Really not sure about War Machine. Not sure about the Scarlet Witch, although I really wish I was sure. Really wish she would be in here. And I do believe an Iron Man variant is going to be in there, and everybody else is basically going to be in there. Maybe not the Hulk, but he's coming back in SpiderMan. But besides that, I think everybody else is there. And I think this is some really cool art to showcase basically the MCU where it's at right now. I would say minus Iron Man, because obviously Iron Man's gone. But we've seen everybody else for the most part. And I'm really excited for Doomsday in the future. So go ahead, let me know what you think about this artwork, and let me know what you think about this new MCU report that I think kind of changes the way that we view how Doomsday is going to start. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU news. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.